We're learning more details on the developments of a bloody scene on the campus there in Cal Berkeley last night. Let's continue on our coverage here on Live Now from Fox. Several arrests were made at this as fights broke out at a Turning Point USA event. Let's be joined right now by senior correspondent for Fox News, Claudia Cowan. Claudia, thank you so much for joining us. You were there on the scene. You were on the ground. What's the latest, and give us your perspective.
Well, hi, Andy. That's right. Things turned ugly really fast, really quickly last night when several hundred protesters tried to block ticket holders from getting inside the Turning Point USA event, which was being held at Zellerbach Hall on the campus of UC Berkeley. It was just quite a scene and violent frequently. Police in riot gear, though, did hold the line against the raucous crowd. Many wore masks and waved Palestinian flags. They were chanting "No fascists in Berkeley," among other much more vulgar slogans. Tensions boiled over when people began throwing rocks and bottles and even a flare. A man who breached the barricade was quickly taken down and arrested. In another confrontation, a protester got into a bloody fight in the street with a man wearing Charlie Kirk's trademark Freedom shirt. Both were dragged away by police. Now, in a statement, Cal administrators said, quote, "We are aware of one violent incident last night. 2 individuals were arrested for fighting outside campus. They were arrested for battery by the City of Berkeley Police Department." We understand the campus police also made several arrests. And Andy, I can tell you that this violence last night has now gotten the attention of the DOJ, and a federal investigation will promise to look into issues surrounding security and how protesters were able to, quote, "operate with impunity" in California. So this is not the last chapter on this violence we saw at UC Berkeley last night.
Yeah,
Andy?
It's very unfortunate what unfolded there at this, what was a peaceful event, turned very violent very, very fast. I do want to ask you, because you mentioned that DOJ investigation, the Assistant Attorney General for Civil Rights under Pam Bondi, they will be investigating it. She also pointed back to 2017 in Berkeley. Can you share any of those insights? Is that a familiar scene? Is that similar?
Well, you know, it's a good question, Andy, because, of course, Berkeley is known to be the birthplace of the free speech movement. But in the past, we've seen Ben Shapiro and Ann Coulter and other speakers who've been invited to come. But when they are conservative, they are not so much welcomed there at UC Berkeley. And that's what happened in the past. And there was an investigation, and I believe it was settled. So that's what Harmeet Dillon is talking about now in her post on X, launching this new investigation looking into campus and local security issues and what happened there last night.
And can you tell me what comes next? Because we know the arrests have to go through the judicial system. Is there any other events planned, any other conservative events? Because as you mentioned, Berkeley, really a hotbed for political activism. Are we expecting any other events from the right or the left?
You know, not that I've heard about, not at UC Berkeley. I can tell you that last night marked the final stop of this Turning Point USA campus tour. And organizers say this movement is only gaining momentum. And so they say they are planning more events at more college campuses with more high-profile conservative speakers in the months ahead.
All right, that is so very true. All right, thank you so much, Claudia. And it's been 2 months since that, obviously, tragedy that unfolded at UVU with Charlie Kirk. Claudia Cowan, thank you so much. I appreciate your time here on Live Now.
You're welcome.
All right, thank you so much. All right, great reporting as always there from the Bay Area as the Turning Point USA event turned very violent last night. We do want to give you some more details about what we're seeing unfold. This a post from the New York Post saying the bloody brawl breaks out as agitators protest this Turning Point USA event, UC Berkeley in California. You noted, as heard from Claudia Cowan there, talking about the nature of UC Berkeley. It is sometimes, unfortunately, in the spotlight for some of the free speech, but obviously agitators, potentially people coming together. This turned very quickly. And these are some of the images that we're seeing last night of this, as now the DOJ investigating it, as the Department of Justice announced the agency would investigate protests ahead of the Turning Point event, where at least 3 arrests were made and fights broke out. In a Tuesday morning post on social media, Harmeet Dillon, a San Francisco attorney who's now the U.S. Assistant Attorney General for the Civil Rights Division, said she, quote, sees several issues of serious concern regarding campus and local security and their ability to operate impunity in California. She had the scene on Monday night at this Cal campus, which featured conservative activist, comedian Rob Schneider, and authors was reminiscent of Berkeley back in 2017. So you can see some of these images, obviously very graphic of nature, so viewer discretion is advised. But this was expected to be a peaceful event where people could showcase their voice, their viewpoint, turned ugly very fast, violent very fast at this bloody fights, multiple fights breaking out. We had our Fox 2 team, Sky Fox, high up top, kind of giving a viewpoint of it as well. So obviously we're continuing to follow this here on Live Now from Fox. And before the event, UC Berkeley Assistant Vice Chancellor said the protest ahead of the Turning Point USA event was organized by groups that had no affiliation with the university. He added that the university was treating the Turning Point USA event like any other major campus event while upholding First Amendment rights. And again, this is a post from the Turning Point USA about that. The comedian Rob Schneider taking the stage for this Turning Point tour at UC Berkeley. It's really the last stop on a campus tour that is stretched far and wide across the country. You're hearing from Rob Schneider himself on social media saying, "I would like to thank all the courageous Cal Berkeley students who refused to be intimidated by the, quote, not very tolerant left. We know who the real fascists are, the thugs who don't want free speech." And again, I just want to reiterate one more time this statement from part of the UC Berkeley staff, Vice Chancellor, saying they're aware of one violent incident last night. 2 individuals were arrested. We're now learning that potentially another one was arrested for fighting outside the campus. Those arrested for battery by the City of Berkeley Police Department. All right, following it all very closely here on Live Now from Fox. We'll bring you any such details, any more scenes from Northern California here as they become available. Until then, we'll slide away for a quick 2-minute break.